New Year, guys. Welcome to another edition of Side Chat with Nyaaassh. This is the first episode of the year, and we are just starting at the right time. The AFCON tournament is going to be starting tomorrow, and I felt that it would be a bit of justice if AFCON is the first thing that we talk about on the first episode this year. Most of the time when you're talking about on Side Chat, you're usually talking about the English Premier League. Apart from that, you're talking about sports development and some of the things that are happening to improve the sports. But today, this is a dedicated episode for the AFCON tournament. There are so many issues that came out at the onset of the AFCON tournament. Remember, a couple of months ago, there's all conversation about the release of players to come and play for the AFCON. Remember, the AFCON tournament usually it's played during the months of June to July, but this time it's being played at around January to February. Why is it important why was that particular issue contentious in this year's AFCON tournament? First of all, it's because the season is ongoing. That is, the English Premier League is ongoing and other leagues in the world are continuing. So that presented a lot of challenges in terms of players, because you remember most of the African players are playing their game outside Africa, mainly in the English Premier League, in the Spanish League. So there's a lot of conversation that went on along that. But we're going to be breaking that down and why it was important to release the players, and at the backdrop of that, why other former players had to chip in and talk about that. That is just one of the things in tutakuwa tunaongelea leo kwa Side Chat. And we're going to give you our cue or our pick on who we think are going to be the favorites of the tournament. And making a debut on a Side Chat with Nyaaassh is Nyaaassh. For those of you who do not know Nyaaassh akona his own online series called Sports Digest K, which usually goes on IG. So if you can follow him on IG and you can see what he does. Apart from that, he does a show on Kiss 100. You can follow that conversation on Saturdays from 3 p.m. to around 7 p.m. Well, Nyaaassh, manze, karibu kwa Side Chat with Nyaaassh, manze.
Thanks, man, for having me. It's a pleasure, man. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, bana. Umeanzaje mwaka bana?
Mwaka inanipeleka na rieng vizuri tu. Motaratara iko sawa. Can't complain much, man.
Tuanze. Najua hii si kitu tunaenda kuongelelea, but very quickly, are you happy with where your team is in the English Premier League? Tuanze tu hapo.
I could not be happier, man. I could not be happier. I mean, we are fourth. Nobody thought Arsenal would be fourth coming to 2022. We're above teams like Manchester United, who have games in hand, of which if they win, they will not be above us. As in, I can go on and on about this one.
Manze, I've had your conversation here, game in hand, manze. A couple of weeks ago, nilikuwa nauliza Man U fans wanasema, oh, you're on top of us with 3 games in hand. Man, sioni kama imesaidia so far. Anyway, we're still at the top of Manchester United, but that's a conversation tutakuwa nayo another time, Nyaaassh. Speaking about Arsenal, just deeply kidogo too, because I feel like the person I'm about to mention has had a lot of amekuwa na a lot of question marks lately, and that is Aubameyang, in the English Premier League. Lately, he's been excluded, alikuwa suspended by Mikel Arteta from the squad. I wanted you to talk about that particular move by Arteta, and what do you think that brings question marks in terms of the discipline of Aubameyang going into the AFCON tournament?
Yeah, I mean, Aubameyang has had a lot of issues lately. I mean, and the latest one of all, which is the biggest one, has to be him being stripped off the captaincy. Carlos Sylvain being late, coming back to Colney, and the discipline issues. There has been some other indiscipline issues that have happened in previous instances that some even have not been mentioned. Some have been mentioned. There was a time he was late for training. There was a time he was late to arrive to the camp when you have the North London derby. And Arteta is dealing with a very young squad. So he does not want anybody that will bring any disharmony or some bad traits to that squad, because he'll be setting precedents anyway. And this is one of the oldest guys there. So if you're not setting a good pace, and a good precedence, the coach is definitely going to drop him. That is exactly what happened. Then Ateta tunajua anapenda kuwa ruthless. I mean, the time he dropped him, imagine dropping your captain in the North London derby. That was unheard of, right? And as if that was not enough, now he went and dropped him again for the captaincy, and of which for me I feel it's totally in order. I mean, wale wa jamaa tunacheza nao side, they're very young guys. They need guys who will be proper examples. So if you're not close to that, then you cannot be in the camp. And that's why he was taken off the captaincy na akaekwa kando ana train peke yake. Makes a lot of sense to me. And then of course now tunaona akona COVID. So he cannot play for Gabon in the first 2 games, the Africa Cup of Nations. Why? He was out partying in Dubai. So as in, even the guy himself, Kidogo, you feel like he's not helping his case. So yeah, there's not much you can say. But where's him to much happen?
So I was having this conversation with some friends of mine, and tulikuwa tunasema, do you think this is the last we are seeing of Aubameyang? Because man, career-wise, he's had his good sides. I mean, playing for Borussia, in the English Premier League, pia amekuwa na shine. Are we seeing the last of Aubameyang in the English Premier League?
We could be. It's very much possible. I mean, I've been seeing reports and rumors in this transfer window in January that Arsenal is open to selling him. So if any offers come up, Arsenal will be open to selling him. So this may be the last bit you're seeing of Aubameyang in the Premier League. If it does not happen, I believe he will be gone in the summer. If it does not go this January, of which I feel like the most possible situation, because there are some clubs out there who are looking for strikers. If it does not happen this January, in the summer, once the season is over, I feel like he'll most definitely be leaving. And I'll be kind of feeling torn, like a catching 22 situation here, because I mean, this guy has been good for Arsenal. When he came in, he was banging goals. Second season, won the Golden Boot. The third season, missed the Golden Boot by 1 goal. The other one, I think that also that season, he helped us get the FA Cup. He was the best player in that tournament. So amekuwa poor for us, but the last 2 seasons has just been poor, and this season has been exceptionally poor. So it's a catch-22 situation here, because I like the guy, but I mean, the situation we are moving in right now, we cannot do need guys like him.
Okay. Still sticking to matters English Premier League. There's a very contentious issue that was going on. You remember some of the teams walikuwa nakataa ku release their players because at the end of the day, they're like, manze, if these players go, club performance yetu inaenda kukua chini. I wanted to get your take on that. I mean, your situation, how did it sit along with you? Because for me, as far as I'm concerned, even as what Ian Wright alisema, whenever it is in the English Premier League and a player is required to represent their national colors, they don't think twice.
Yeah.
But here's a situation where it is an African tournament, and then people are like, we don't think it's really that important, So how did that sit along with you?
The disrespect, man, is staggering. Absolutely ashamed to see some of those coaches thinking they can hold the players. I mean, AFCON has been played in January for a long time, by the way, before they started to move to the summer situation where they're playing now after the season is over. Ilikuwa inachezwa January. Yeah. So then there are no issues of players being allowed to leave. So why is it now? But then you see, like, I don't want to say like guys like Klopp, but Klopp was one of the persons who started bringing this whole issue when he said Africa is a small tournament. Even though he said it was taken out of context, I believe for a coach like him, he should know better, right? And of course, if you look at the guys that he's trying to hold, someone could see why maybe he's trying to hold these players, Akina Sadio Mane, Akina Mo Salah. These are the guys who are helping Liverpool basically. And Liverpool, they're trying to go for the title without these 2 big players. What I talk about quietly. So Kidogo is like he's holding back, but it's a shame to think that you can hold players and restrict them from going to do their national duties. That is absolutely abysmal to think like that. It should not be happening. It should not be happening. And of course, we saw also guys like Vieira chipping in, saying that AFCON deserves respect as big as the Euros, of which it is. It's a regional tournament. Yeah. That's the same with Euros. That's the same with Copa America. So kila moja ipe heshima yake, and if the players have to leave, they have to leave.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So how do you think such issues should be handled in the future? Because the reality is they are going to crop up again. We are not seeing the first and the last of such issues. Is there something that African players themselves can do to tell the bigwigs in the English Premier League? I mean, I respect the English Premier League so much, Yeah, because of how it's run, you know, the opportunities as it presents for African players. But then the question is, how do we get to that point where we are like, you know what, majama, tunawachezea lakini manze at the end of the day lazima tu mtu respect, because yeah, you know, it's a two-way thing, you know.
Yeah, it's a two-way thing. First of all, for me, I don't expect to see these things happening again, especially from coaches from England. These guys know what it means to play football, and you don't play football for club only. You play football for your club and for your national team. So when it comes to the national team, you have to leave. Kwa hiyo wakati international break asabangi players wasiende. Why is it that AFCON ikifika where they're going for like a whole month, they're saying, oh, okay, now that's a problem. No, I've never had them restraining guys from England from going to play for England. I'm from European countries. When it's like ikifika African ndio kidogo, they are like a bit reluctant of letting them guys go. Makes no sense to me. I don't expect to see it happening again. From especially, you know, funny thing, it's happening from these big clubs. Okay, again, unfortunately, I'll go back to Liverpool because it was the first club. There's also the issue of Watford. Senegal saying they don't want to let Ismail Assar leave, and they were saying, oh, he has injuries, shit, but they finally, they finally let him go, right? So that's a bit shaming. So why are you holding back? The guy is even in the squad by the way that is going to be representing Senegal, right? So easy injuries walikuwa nasema zilikuwa za nini? Ama all of a sudden amepona. You know, I don't understand. It makes absolutely no sense to me. So it's a bit shaming for these clubs to be behaving like this. I don't expect to see it happening again. I think this is the first time you're having these issues, right? I don't recall them happening before. And maybe I'm getting it because the whole issue of COVID again, where these guys will go, then they'll come back, maybe a restriction and quarantine for like 10 days. Because I'm missing some other matches. And you're thinking it's crunch time here because to go to the second half of the season now, this is squeaky bum time for all clubs in terms of going the farthest levels in terms of qualifying for the Champions League and going to higher levels of the Champions League, maybe quarterfinals and the semis, and bado kuna FA, kuna league, and very competitive. But something has to give. You know, you have to have squad depth. So if you are relying on African players, you can't blame us. So no Jipangi as a club, as a coach. But if these players need to go, they'll have to leave. And that's the bottom line.
So moving away from your conversation here, AFCON and whatever, on the release of players, very quickly I wanted to get your favorites in this tournament. Already Algeria is coming into this tournament being considered as the favorites. Remember, they've not won I think 40 games playing for in the African tournament. I already know Algeria. Yeah, it's Algeria. I know already Algeria are favorites in these tournaments. But for you, which other teams do you think are going to give Algeria a run for their money?
Good question. Because this is a bit hard, to be honest. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of potential favorites. I'm seeing a lot of favorites here because some teams are quite strong. Teams like Nigeria, they're good, right? Sleeping giants, but still good. Teams like Ivory Coast. I'm looking at Ivory Coast. They have Eric Bailly, and I'm looking at how they performed last AFCON. By the way, they were quite good. Walipigwa na Egypt. Walipigwa na Algeria. Sorry. The guys who eventually went to become champions, right? And they walipigwa in penalties. So they actually give Algeria a run for their money. And now they'll be having guys like Amad Diallo is not there, I think. They have guys like Nicola Pepe is the highest there. They have Frank Kessié, the one who plays for AC Milan, Eric Bailly. A very good squad, I'm thinking. I'm thinking these guys, maybe this time around, they'll do a bit better. I want to see what they will do. I feel like Algeria will always be favorites, you know, because they're defending champions. They have legs of Mahrez, Akina Benacer, Akina Slimani, wako sawa. Then we have teams like I said, Nigeria is also good. Ghana, I don't know if Ghana is one sleeping giant, but Ghana have not won AFCON in the last 40 years. Nilisikia starting to go like, whoa, hold up. What the hell? 40 years. That's a long ass time, right? But they actually haven't. So I'm thinking Algeria will be favorites. I'm looking also at Ivory Coast. I want to see how they perform. Senegal, for me, will always be favorites. Which other team would I put in there? Egypt. I want to see if Mo Salah can replicate what he's doing in the Premier League in the AFCON. Last AFCON, he didn't do much. So can he do it this time around? So yeah, quite some interesting teams there. I'm having 4 teams as my favorite. Ivory Coast, Senegal, Algeria, and I'll also put in Nigeria there.
Now Cameroon, don't you? You want Cameroon wakienda mbali kwa hii tournament being the hosts, Vanze?
there's of course that advantage. And they have a very favorable group, by the way. I think they have Burkina Faso, Cape Verde, and Ethiopia. I think they'll top that group. I don't see them struggling much in that group. So they'll do good. Actually, last time they tried, they were beaten by Nigeria 3-2, a very tight game. That was a very tight game. So maybe the home advantage, alafu pia unajua their new president, Samuel Eto'o, unajua ataka majamaa wajiprove bana, like go and do the best that you can. I mean, you are the hosts here.
Yeah.
So can you actually go maybe reach the semis or even the finals? And they have actually won it before. So yeah, I would not be shocked by that if they go high in this tournament this time round.
Maybe Nyaaassh tukimaliza. Some of the players that we think will stand out, of course, saizi the conversation ni Mohamed Salah is the best player in the world right now. So which other players do you think are going to stand out? I know such tournaments usually bring out players wenye wako wanapatiwa spotlights, unajua. A good example is ukiangalia time ya World Cup, when James Rodriguez, came out, akakuja star, and then something in that line. So these tournaments are usually an opportunity for young players to be spotted. Maybe which players do you think might stand out in this tournament?
Well, this is a bit hard to call. But besides the obvious, Algeria had this striker that they had last AFCON. Bonjour, he had a crazy ass name, I can't recall it. But he was quite good. Zimbabwe, they had a guy who was called Billiard. He didn't score actually. I don't think he scored, but he was quite an attractive. It was quite exciting to watch, And I'm thinking Zimbabwe for me might be the dark horses this time around, but they just to be clear. I see how they played last time, and I'm thinking they will do maybe even better. So Billiard is a player to watch out for. Mali always has some very good players who stay hidden until the tournament begins. So I think Mali is another team that we'll be looking out for in a prospective guys who might astonish us in this tournament. So yeah, it's a bit hard to call, but for me, I'm also looking at teams like Nigeria. Last time out, they didn't have any standout players.
Yeah.
And I'm looking to see if this time around they'll be having guys like Chukwueze, if they're gonna stand out this time around. I don't know if they will, but I'm looking to see if they're actually gonna stand out and do something to be counted. There's also some players who play for Egypt, and they were among, I think, 4 guys. They won the Total Under-23 AFCON. Yeah. And they were involved in the final squad to play now in the AFCON 2021. So some other 4 interesting guys to watch out for Egypt. I can't recall their names though, unfortunately. But yeah, Egypt has some guys you might want to watch out for. I'm looking out for Egypt, and I'm also looking out for Zimbabwe, a guy in particular called Billiard. And I'm also looking out for Algeria. They have guys like Benacer and the striker I was telling you about, who was number 9. I don't know if he's been called up this time around, but Benacer and that striker for Algeria, I think they're some of the guys you might need to watch out for. Because these are the guys like Kina Sadio Mane, these are obvious guys, right? Kina Mendy wa Senegal, obvious guys. Nothing, you don't expect much. Small Salah, they are the obvious culprits. If they stand out, you'll not be astonished, So yeah, let's see if these teams and those guys in particular will do anything. I'm also looking out for Nicola Pepe for obvious reasons.
In fact, that was I was like, bro, ni aje uja mention watu wa Arsenal, uja mention Pepe na uja mention Pate.
Yeah, I'm also looking out for him, especially because the first half hajacheza match. So can he maybe show Arteta, I need to get back to that squad through the AFCON? Can he do that? Thomas Partey has been good for Arsenal in the last game, especially against Man City and Tuli Biwa. So it was quite good. And can he help Ghana now boost up the midfield? I think we'll have to wait for that one and see. The last time he was playing for Ghana, he did quite well. I think, is it World Cup qualifiers or AFCON? I think World Cup qualifiers. And watches Zuri. So if you can do the same in AFCON, we're waiting to see Aubameyang. Unfortunately, he might miss the first 2 games, but bado tunataka kuona kama venye amekuwa nje Arsenal kama amelana thing or 2. So yeah.
Very as we finish, sitaki kusound kama pastor, last but not least. kuna issue ya VAR. Tunaona the way it has been, we see the way it has been contentious in the English Premier League. How do you see the same problem ikiwa kwa CAF? Because for I think this time is when it's going to be used fully in the AFCON tournament. Should we be ready for surprises like the one tulinyanganywa na Man City? Yeah.
To be honest, I'm not ready for such shit, to be honest. I hope we are not going to be subjected to such stuff, because in the Premier League it has been horrible. But weirdly, in these other tournaments, it's not the same. I don't get it. In the Euros, in the World Cup, inatumika vizuri. But Premier League, Joe, ni kama referees hawajui kuitumia ama ni nini, sielewi. So I'm hoping this AFCON is not going to be a replica of the Premier League. I hope they're going to use it wisely and use it well, and not avoid these contentious decisions, and just make the correct decisions. That's the most important thing here. If the decision has to be seen on the screen, go and see it on the screen. Si unaona moja alafu unaacha ile ingine, you know. So yeah, I'm hoping VR is gonna help things out this time around. Last time hakukuwa na VR, si ndio 2019?
Yeah, VR ilikuwa, but ilikuwa lakini it was used towards the end of the tournament.
Oh. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Towards the end of the tournament. So this time I think the CAF president, that is Patrick Motsepe, yeah, and saizi wanasema it's going to be played, it's going to be used in all the matches, you know.
Okay. That's cool. Yeah, so for me, I just want to see them making correct decisions, not as wayward decisions as we are used to seeing in the Premier League. I hope to make correct one. At least waishane, kama biari yatumika vizuri Africa, sembuse England.
Yeah.
Then now we'll narrow down and say it's goddamn referees who don't know how to use this stuff.
Yeah.
They need to be taught or to leave, or we have new guys coming in, or something has to give.
Yeah. And I think this one is firing shots to the English Premier League. I think by virtue of being pioneers of the VAR, you know, we probably expect Burnley to lose such matches kama ile ya Manchester City.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Tukimaliza, you can plug in your channel. Where can people get you? Where can people watch you? You know, watu watakupataje kwa social media?
Oh yeah. Point of correction, by the way, when you're starting off, you said Sports Digest, it's Football Digest.
Oh, Football.
But thanks for that. Maybe eventually
it's
Football Digest KE, but eventually maybe you might have to be broad and go with sports, not football. But that's a story for another day. So you can check out on Facebook, Football Digest KE, Football Digest KE on Instagram, Football Digest KE on YouTube. Yes, we are not on Twitter. You can check me out on my personal accounts at Nyaaassh, NYAASSH, on all platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and even YouTube. Also, you can also always tune into Kiss 100 and the Classic 105. Every Saturday from 3 to 7, you have a show there. We do sports entertainment like crazy. Actually, in Upper Nikitoka, some hours from now, we'll be going to do this weekend show. So I'm looking forward to it. So you can always plug in and tune in.